So we just got some breaking news that apparently Trump will be going forward with the 25% tariffs on Canada. He was making a $100 billion investment announcement today with a Taiwan chip manufacturer. And while he was making this announcement, he took some questions from the media. And one of them was asking him about car manufacturing, about Honda. And this is what Trump had to say.
But very importantly, tomorrow tariffs 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start. So they're going to have a tariff. So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs. I would just say this to people in Canada or Mexico: if they're going to build car plants, the people that are doing them are much better off building here, because we have the market. We're the market where they sell the most.
So it sounds like Trump's saying if we don't start investing in developing things in America, then we are going to constantly get this tariff situation. Now, we have had plenty of reports saying that some car parts take 6, 7, even 8 trips across the US and Canada border back and forth before the final product is done. So now if you're going to be throwing 25% tariffs on those parts every single time, it might start adding up for people who are buying new vehicles. However, a little bit after this, another reporter had asked if there was anything that Canada or Mexico could do to stave off this increase, and this is what Trump said.
On the tariffs, is there any room left for Canada and Mexico to make a deal before midnight, and should we expect those Chinese tariffs, the extra 10%, to take effect
tomorrow? No room
tomorrow?
left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
Now, at this point, all I have to say is, who really knows? Trump could have a great night's sleep tonight. Tomorrow, wake up, either forget about the tariffs or just say, you know what, let's give him a break until, again, March 12th or April 2nd, or he'll pick another date. Who really knows at this point? But another story that broke was that Stephen Harper and Mark Carney seem to be having a little bit of a spat, as Stephen Harper released a letter today to conservatives talking about Carney basically lying about his role in the 2008 financial situation. And CP24 has put out a little thing on this saying, revisionist history, Carney hits back at Harper over letter challenging the Liberal leadership frontrunner's economic chops. So it goes on to say that Harper put out a letter saying Harper, who appointed Carney to run at the Bank of Canada in 2008, spoke out on Monday, blasting the former central banker for overstating his role in steering the country through the global financial crisis. In a fundraising letter sent to conservatives, Harper questioned Carney's economic record in the context of the massive economic danger Canada is facing in light of the U.S. president's impeding tariffs. I have listened with increasing disbelief to Mark Carney's attempts to take credit for things he had little or nothing to do with back then. He has been doing this at the expense of the late Jim Flaherty, among the greatest finance ministers in Canada's history, who sadly is not here to defend his record. But let me be very clear. The hard calls during the 2008-2009 global financial crisis were made by Jim Flaherty. Harper went on to say that Carney's experience as a Liberal economic advisor is tied to the carbon tax and sizable deficits, calling the leadership contender wrong on all the big issues. The real reason Carney wants to claim our conservative record for himself is that he dare not speak of his actual experience. So you hear that, and then you come up to the beginning of the article, and it says, Liberal leadership frontrunner Mark Carney is hitting back at former Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper for accusing the Liberal leadership frontrunner of taking undue economic credit. Responding to a letter Harper pinned to the Conservative Party members and sent out as a fundraising blast, Carney's campaign accused Harper of being called on to save Pierre Poilievre from the historic drop in support. Then they go on to say, but no attempt of revisionist history can take away from Mark Carney's proven record of economic leadership, his campaign said in the statement. Carney's campaign also said, Canadians know that Pierre Poilievre and his team bring no experience or plan to protect our economy and no ability to stand up to Donald Trump in a national crisis. Mr. Carney is ready to lead Canada and to build the strongest economy in the G7. And there was some recent videos of Carney talking about you only call him in when there's a crisis. He's the crisis guy.
Be positive. convince Canadians that we're the right ones to manage them through this crisis. Look, if there's not a crisis, you wouldn't be seeing me. I am most useful. I'm honest. I'm most useful in crisis. I'm not that good in peacetime. Don't tell anyone, because I might,
Which is just total BS. I would never call this guy to change a light bulb. But the other story that's coming up with Carney is that he may have not actually left any of the other positions that he had said he did. And this is coming from the National Post, as it said, Carney says he resigned from all his roles to run for the Liberal leadership. Turns out he hasn't. So the National Post actually contacted nearly 24 organizations that Carney had held public links to until recently. While he resigned from most of them around the time that he launched his leadership race bid in January, he remains connected to at least 5. Now, this article goes down and breaks down which ones that they've contacted and talked to. This one was kind of interesting, where they said, to be frank, we simply haven't been in contact with Mark Carney in the last few months to discuss his role as a member of the Peterson Institute's board. The Peterson Institute's usual practice is when a board member runs for a political office, they resign. If they win for public service, they can also choose to go on a leave, she added. Now, I'll link the article down below, but this article came out on the same day where Carney was also in Oakville with Anita Anand. She was announcing her support behind Mark Carney, as well as saying that she will be running in the next election. She's not going to be stepping away, which is interesting. But Carney was being questioned. CTV picked this up. The audio is a little bit choppy, but you do have subtitles. And just listen to him answer this question about the Brookfield situation.
It's a technical look. As I say, there's several elements to the transaction, Laura, and I should have been more precise in my answer. There's an overall move with a plan of arrangement, and the plan of arrangement and the agreement of all that, which is also pretty, it's complicated. The corporation and the company which happened after us was. I think the core, though, is what are we actually talking about? We're talking about a technical change to where the head office is. No difference to any employment. The technical change, no difference to any employment here in Canada, no difference to any of the operations here in Canada. And in fact, on net, what the technical change does is improves the access to capital.
It makes you look like you're trying to distance yourself from moving a headquarters from Canada to the United States. Why would you?
It's a technical look. As I say, it's a technical change that enhances the liquidity. Brookfield is a great Canadian company. It's a great Canadian success story. If you look at the company still listed on Toronto, the employees all still here. I would say a number of the employees actually live here in Oakville, and having greater access to capital is a good thing for Canada, a good thing for Canadian growth.
You've been accused of lying. Did you lie, sir? You said you should have been more precise.
But there's multiple aspects. Okay, sometimes I answer questions that go into details when I should keep it at a higher level. That's part of the problem with not being a politician.
Now, it seems like that's his favorite little line that he likes to throw out there. If you heard it right at the end, I'm not a politician, or that's why I don't have that experience because I haven't been a politician, that sort of thing. But the Globe and Mail actually were on the CBC, and they were talking about this, how he's been avoiding this sort of question. And the fact that he keeps avoiding it, by the time he becomes a prime minister, the process that takes so long to find this out.
He still hasn't told us what he's going to do, and we've been trying to get this information on what you're going to do about putting your conflict of interest disclosures to the public. They have ducked that over and over again, and there's a reason for this. Is that it takes 60 days to declare, once you become prime minister, 60 days to declare your conflict, and 120 days to declare it to the public. If he abides by that, then the election will be over before we'll even know what his financial interests are. So he's been ducking us a lot. He'll take 2 questions, maybe 3, and then they run away from us.
And this is why the Conservatives have been pushing so hard for Carney to disclose this information, because he's essentially in a giant loophole that Trudeau has created. A person like Carney would never be in the position to become the leader of the Liberal Party and then immediately roll into the prime minister's position. He'd have to go through all the scrutinies that the MPs go through, all the background checks, everything. And then if they did find conflict of interests, he'd either have to deal with it or he couldn't be the prime minister. Now, with the Liberals, we've seen quite a few scandals, so that might not be the case. But yeah, love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.